Hello, this is the Watchdog, and welcome back to Fun with Watches. If watches weren't fun, you'd only need one. Today we're going to be doing a comparison. We have two monster watches, so we're going to compare the Heimdallr Monster with the Islander ISL 60 Monster. This is a comparison and not a contest. Our goal isn't to pick a winner. Our goal is to just show you the differences between the two watches, which are very similar. Let's start out with the wrist check. I'm wearing my Ben Nevis homage to the Seiko SKX 009. When I unboxed this watch, I mentioned that I might not do a review on it, but I had one of my viewers request a review, so I will be reviewing this. So I'm wearing this to get some wrist time. And Greg was wearing my Casio G-Shock. Grego decided to take up pod racing. Unfortunately, though, Grego has a very small bladder, and during one particularly long race, he had to make 2 peas in a pod. Here are the two watches. We have the Islander on the left and the Heimdallr on the right. Each watch is on top of the box they came in. I'll show you the boxes real quick for comparison purposes. The Island watch box is just a fairly plain box that has a white pillow on it that the watch came on. And the Heimdallr box, instead of having a pillow, has this little foam cutout. Either way, each box is nothing spectacular. They're just very basic and simple. But I'd much rather have the money going to the watch and not the box. Let's then look at the dials. The Islander on the left has the Generation 1 monster dial, and the Heimdallr on the right has the Generation 2 with the shark teeth. When it comes to comparison, this is going to be the biggest difference, and this might be all you need to know. So if you prefer the Gen 1, you have to go with the Islander. If you prefer the Gen 2, you have to go to the Heimdallr, because neither one offers both. Personally, I prefer the Gen 2 because I just think the shark teeth looks really cool and it makes the monster look like a monster. If you look at the hands, the Heimdallr has black borders, but the Islander has steel borders. Both date windows look very similar and they match the design of each watch. However, there is a big difference. The Islander has Spanish as a second date language, but the Heimdallr has Japanese Kenja. Also, the Heimdallr has the weekend days as colored red, but the Islander, they're black for every day. Here, let me show you one at a time. Here's the Heimdallr. Alright, I'll change the days on the Heimdallr. See, it's not the Spanish, it's the Japanese. And then Saturday and Sunday is red. Here's the Islander. I'll change the days. As you can see, the second day is Spanish. And the weekends are not red. When it comes to the cases, the Islander is 1 millimeter thicker than the Heimdallr. I'm not sure how that is. Maybe the case back's a little thicker. And also, if you look at these little side grooves, the Islander, they're rounded, but the Heimdallr, they're square. And yes, I know I have the Islander on the right now and the Heimdallr on the left. I'll be mixing them up a lot. The movements are identical. They're both NH36s. Good workhorse movements. Then if you look at the bezels, you'll notice that the Heimdallr, the lettering is just a bit bolder than the Islander. And the minute markers are just a bit bolder also. When it comes to the bezel action, there is a big difference. The Islander, as I noted in my review, the bezel action is very light, and you can hardly hear the clicks. Very light bezel action. The Heimdallr, on the other hand, you can really hear the clicks, and the bezel action is a lot better although it's a lot stiffer though. In fact, it might be a little bit too stiff, where the other one's too light. This one might be too stiff. Another thing different about the two is on the Heimdallr, when I spin it, I can pinch my fingers on the shrouds, and I really don't notice that on the Islander. It you can pinch it if you're not watching it. It's not horrible. You're not going to be in pain or anything. It's just kind of annoying. When it comes to the crystals, they're both sapphire, but the Heimdallr is flat and the Islander is double domed. Plus, they both have AR coating, but the shape of the crystal makes a big difference. Look at the light reflecting from overhead. On the Heimdallr on the left, it's really big and takes up most of the crystal, where on the Islander on the right, you can hardly see it. It doesn't take up near as much room. So the Islander is definitely better when it comes to anti-reflective. When it comes to the crowns, the Islander is signed and the Heimdallr is unsigned. When you unscrew them, the Islander pops out really nice. The Heimdallr pops too, but not nearly as distinctly as the Islander. When it comes to screwing them back in though, the Islander seems to catch the threads a little bit easier. And you don't feel any cross threading or anything. The Heimdallr is a little bit rougher, a little bit harder to catch the threads. And sometimes you can feel some thread resistance. But they're both pretty good. When it comes to the case backs, the Heimdallr has this shark on the back with the Heimdallr logo and some pretty good frosting, with, as well as the words automatic and the depth rating and everything. The Islander has the same case that all Long Island watches have, which is this frosting of Long Island in the back with the Islander logo. It's a little bit more plain than the Heimdallr. They're both good case backs though. When it comes to the bracelets, they look very similar, except for there's one really huge difference. The Islander has screw-in links, so it's really easy to add or to remove links. The Heimdallr, on the other hand, has a pin and collar system. So you have to push the pin out, and then there's a collar inside where the tab is. And it makes sizing the bracelet a lot more difficult than a screw-in link. Another big difference is the size. I only had to remove one link to fit the Islander to my 7.5-inch wrist, but I had to remove 2 links to fit the Heimdallr. So the Heimdallr bracelet is a little bit bigger if you have a big wrist. If you have a really big wrist for the Islander, you might have to get another link. The clasps are identical except for the Heimdallr is signed. Other than that, there's no difference between the two. Let me show you how one of them works. Just your basic milled scissor clasp and 3 micro adjust. Very basic. So let's go ahead and do a lume comparison now. My camera is not very good, but I can still do a side-by-side comparison. As you can see, the Heimdallr is clearly winning over the Islander. But I do not want to imply that the Islander has bad lume. It's just that the Heimdallr has so much better lume. The Heimdallr lume is really impressive. But the Islander lume is no slouch. Do not let my crappy camera fool you into thinking that the Islander has subpar lume, because it does not. Then let's go ahead and talk price. The Heimdallr is $180 on AliExpress, and the Islander is $280 on islandwatch.com. But I did pay $140 for this Heimdallr during the big AliExpress sale. And the Islander, you can get a 5% discount if it's your first purchase. Then let's also talk delivery time. It took me 23 days to get this Heimdallr from China. But it only took 4 days to get this Islander from Long Island, New York. There is now a Heimdallr USA eBay store where you can get your Heimdallrs a lot quicker, but you will most certainly not get them any cheaper. In fact, it appears that they're charging about $8 or $9 more for the same monster than AliExpress. Plus, on the Heimdallr USA eBay site, you're not going to get any coupons or discounts that you would normally get on AliExpress. They both come with a 1-year warranty, but if you live in the US, wouldn't you rather ship the box back to New York than China? I know from personal experience, I had to ship a watch back to China once and it ended up costing me $38. But it only cost me $8 to ship a watch back to New York. Okay, that's the comparison. I think it all is going to come down to which dial do you prefer? Do you like the Gen 1 dial or do you like the Gen 2 dial? Because that is by far the biggest difference of the two. They're both great watches, and I don't think you will be disappointed with either one of them. Thank you for watching my comparison video, and I'll be back with hopefully another unboxing or a review of that SKX 009 homage I'm wearing right now. Thank you. Bye.